The problem in Nigeria is that a lot of times you see people, it goes from income to expense, but it's supposed to pass through. You get the money, you save some, you have an investment. People get a higher degree of income, they quickly upgrade the lifestyle. People think that you need to have hundreds of millions to have an investment. Your income is supposed to be, the vehicle that builds wealth for you. Every trader goes through the drawdown before it goes back in profit. It's very rare that you take a trade and it just goes straight. No, because you can't time it, you don't know. You can get rich through trading, but you get wealthy with investing.
If you're a young Nigerian who has ever thought, I want to invest, but where do I start? Then this episode of the Novice podcast is for you. One day, it's a friend on WhatsApp selling Forex signals. The next day, is someone on Instagram, your favorites, cashing out from crypto. And then you hear about stocks, dividends, passive income, and you're just confused. But you know what? Here's the truth. You don't need millions to start. You need the mindset. Today, we're breaking it all down. Forex, crypto, and stocks, where you can start if you have small money and a smartphone, and also the right mindset to learn and grow. And joining us today is someone who has trained over 1,000 people across Africa to do just that. He is a portfolio manager, he's a trader, educator, and also the one leading the money behind markets and young Africans. Please welcome the founder of Chikwado Group and Group Executive Director of Chikwado Trading Academy, Hossana Chikwado. Welcome, Chikwado.
Thank you very much.
It's good to have you on the show. In fact, at the end of this show like this, I'm joining your academy.
Straight away, you're welcome. Thank you.
It's great to have you once again. So today we're going to talk about something that we hear a lot, on social media, word of mouth, friends. We hear about stock, crypto, Forex, these three big boys. So what exactly, is stock, crypto, and Forex?
All right. So thank you for having me. And I think one of the things that is happening in the modern world is that social media has made all of these things very popular. I'll start from, I think you started from stocks. So I'll start from stocks. And that's where I started from. So stocks is really companies. It's just what you call shares. Stocks is the American word for shares.
Okay.
The British call it shares, the Americans call it stocks. So it's really taking your money and giving it to a company that you believe will do well. And then when they do business, they give you returns. Those returns, you call it dividends. Okay. But also along the line, you're expecting that if you buy, let's say you buy the shares of, let's say Nairametrics, for instance. You buy the shares of Nairametrics. Nairametrics is now big. It's now a publicly listed company. It's a PLC now. So you buy the shares of Nairametrics at 4 Naira per share. Okay. And Nairametrics does very well over the years. Investors come in, there's massive revenue. Automatically, the value of Nairametrics goes up. And the shares go from 4 Naira to, let's say, 10 Naira. There's a 6 Naira gain in between. Yeah. But all along, you are getting dividends. So if you bought 1,000 units of Nairametrics for 4 Naira, that was 4,000 Naira. Now you're selling at 10 Naira per share. You're selling at 10,000 Naira. That means you have 6,000 Naira gain in between. Of course, the broker will take some commissions and, some pockets of things here and there. All along, you were getting dividends. So the idea there is what most people try to seek is the capital gains. That means the gain of the company going from 4 Naira to 10 Naira. That's what you call capital gain. So they make money in between selling that. If it's a dividend paying company like MTN, I think I've given them a free promo there. So if it's a dividend paying stock, they pay you dividends every quarter. And also you get to have the value of how much you invested originally. So that's how the stocks work.
Okay.
But now, when we look at the Forex market is ideally trading currency, just like where you have Naira, you have dollar. The clear example of that would be what the Abokis do, the one they call Bureau de Change, Aboki, that change money in Nigeria, the exchange. So what they do is that they exchange Naira. When you want to get dollars, you go to them, they give you dollars, and then you give them Naira. Yeah. That transaction is happening at a certain price. So the man who bought the dollar from you is expecting to sell the dollar to someone else who probably needs to go abroad and get goods. He's expecting to make some profit in between. Okay. So now that will be the real life version. the Forex will now be doing that on computers. And so this time around, because you're doing it on computers, you have access to a trading platform, you have access to a market analysis platform. So you now have the different currencies of all the countries in the world. Not all the countries, but, top countries. Okay. Australia, Canada, New Zealand, Thailand, all of these countries, you have their currencies on the exchange that you can trade. So for whatever reason you believe, maybe there's what you call technical analysis, there's fundamental analysis. So for whatever reason you believe that the price of the dollar might go up, just like what you have in Nigeria right now, the Naira is gaining strength.
Yeah.
And, it's coming down from 1.6 to 1.525, 1.520. That's the Naira getting stronger, and that's the dollar weakening. And there are fundamental reasons, going on behind the scenes why that could be the case.
Okay.
So if you believe that the Naira is going to get strong, you buy the Naira. And when the Naira actually gets strong and the dollar drops in value, you sell back the Naira and then use it to pick up the dollar. So that's what we do in the computerized version.
Okay.
But then the main difference is that what we now do using the computer screen, the Aboki guy will give you real Naira and real dollars.
Yeah.
But this time around, what we are doing on the computer screen is called CFDs. So C, F, and D, contracts for differences.
Okay.
So in that instance, you are trading the price of the asset, the price of the currency. So you believe, let's say dollar is at 10 Naira per dollar for Naira. You believe that it's going to go up to 15 Naira. So you go over to your broker and you place a buy order. In that instance, when you buy it, you're not buying, nobody's giving you real dollars, nobody's giving you real Naira. What you bought is a contract.
A contract.
Yeah, it's what you bought is a contract. So the contract is saying something like, okay, in the instance that the dollar goes from 10 Naira to 15 Naira, I want you to, and of course, there's a volume that you've purchased, you call it lot sizes. I want you to pay me the difference in those prices. That means the 15 Naira profit that I've gotten out of the deal, I want you to pay it to my account. But in the instance that the dollar
Naira accounts,
because at the end of the day, these accounts are denominated in dollars. So I'm just giving it as an example.
Okay.
So because what you're going to be seeing on the system is you're going to be seeing different currencies, and it's automatically done in such a way that everything is calculated to the value of the dollar on the platform. That's really how it's done. So, but if you're losing, right, and the money goes from, now again, the Naira is an example, and it goes from, say, 10 Naira down to 5 Naira. That means you've lost a 5 Naira margin in between. Yeah. So if you bought 1,000 units, they'll just, multiply that and then subtract it from your account. And of course, that means you've lost money. And that's what most people do. They lose money and, they start to say that, oh, something is wrong with the system. They blame everything except themselves. And it's, really interesting to see that. But at the end of the day, the market is perfect. Nothing is wrong with the market.
Then the last brother on the list.
Oh, so the last brother is crypto. So now the crypto aspect is, I think crypto is the most interesting one, because now for Forex, right?
Okay.
It is the currency of nations. Like for every single thing I just mentioned, I've mentioned the dollar. There's the government of the United States, and of course it's controlled by the Federal Reserve. For Naira here, there's the Central Bank of Nigeria. When you get to England, Bank of England, so it's countries. But in crypto, it is simply a decentralized exchange. It's on the blockchain. It's not owned by anyone. It's not controlled by anyone. It is simply an idea of an agreement of what we all agree to be the value of Bitcoin. That's what they've said to us, in conventional education. They say, oh, everyone agrees that this is the price, but we all know behind the scenes that a lot of things go on.
Yeah.
But it's on the blockchain network. A series of transactions is completed, and then the Bitcoin is born out of that. And it's the same thing that happens across Ethereum. There are thousands and thousands of, coins these days. It's a whole lot. You can't even, get to all of them. But for crypto, you don't have any physical assets to show for it. Unlike the Naira, that there's an evidence of a printed version of the Naira.
Yeah.
But on the crypto one, it is not owned by the government. It is just there on the exchange, and, there on the blockchain, and the whole world can see whatever is going on. So let's say if someone moves like 23 million Bitcoins, or $23 million worth of Bitcoin, you get to see the transaction that someone has moved it, because the blockchain is a very transparent system.
So that's that transparent.
Well, we would like to believe that it's that transparent,
Okay.
So that's really how it is.
So, this is already getting too technical for, the Novice podcast, but, for a tech savvy people or a person who, has a little experience in tech but is broke, where should he or she starts investing in? Should they start with stock? Should they start with crypto or Forex? Because I was speaking to someone today and the person said he started with stock. So I need to know, where should, someone begin for a first time investor?
So I honestly believe that a first-time investor, by the way, there's a difference between an investor and a trader. Okay. So a first-time investor, in my opinion, should always go with stocks. The reason I would always suggest stocks is volatility. So volatility will simply refer to volatility as how quickly price changes, the movement of price over a very short space of time. So just like you're hearing that something that was 10 naira in the morning is now 20 naira in the evening, is now 40 naira before the end. Those kind of movement, that's what you refer to as volatility. So the reason I prefer stock is that, or I would say a beginner should start with stocks, is that it is not as risky as, for instance, what you have in the crypto space. Bitcoins are ridiculously volatile. They move a lot, and it can easily just wipe you out in the market. But then on the stock market, yes, the stock market can crash, but it is not as volatile as what you might have, let's say, in the Forex market or in the crypto market. So it's not as volatile as that. And of course, another thing too that makes it easy is that you can easily buy a stock and sit it out, just allow it, to grow in the portfolio. Yeah. You are not exposing yourself to the need to have to look at the charts every day, to look at the markets every day, unlike
and the news as well.
And the news as well, but Forex will make you do that. Forex gives you a high degree of frequency, and with that also comes a high degree of risk as well. That's why if you go on many broker websites, you see that they will state it clearly that 70% of investors lose money. And that's because they're trying to get in every day. But in the stock market, you can just buy, let's say, Nairametrics, and in the next 6 months, you're not thinking about the Nairametrics stock. If Nairametrics is a dividend-paying stock, you're just collecting it. So you're not bothering about how much is it today, how much is it tomorrow. Yeah. But in the crypto market, it's really volatile. In the Forex market, you have to be looking at all of those things. So if you don't know what you're doing, most people can easily just buy stocks and start from there.
You mentioned something about websites. Mm-hmm. So what are the apps or website that a first time investor or speculator or we get all of that should know or have? Because speaking of that, someone told me, "Oh, Tolu, come and invest in this," and I was thinking, you have to walk into the bank, bring out your NIN, your BVN, your father's name, your mother's middle name. A lot. So what exactly, what are the applications or the websites that we should look out for?
Okay, so I mean, this is a content, this is Nairametrics channel. And if I start getting into all those things, that would mean I'm probably, doing some adverts for some people, that kind of thing. Yeah. And I don't know if I'm allowed to do that anyway.
Yeah, allowed, don't worry.
Okay, but then...
just a few names.
Okay, just a few names. So when it comes to the Forex market, right? For instance, there are brokers that we use to engage with the markets. I, for one, use FP Markets, right? So FP Markets is a broker that I use, to trade the markets, to get access to stocks. And now with FP Markets, I have access to at least 10,000 United States stocks. I have access to stocks in America. I have access to trade gold. I have access to trade commodities, even crypto as well. And then the Forex market. That's the kind of access that we have. But then if you're now looking to trade within the Nigerian space. Okay. The Nigerian space, I personally use Meritrade. There's one you call Meritrade, it's owned by Meristem. I think that's what those guys are called. And then there's Afri Invest. There's a whole lot. And then, of course, there's Bamboo as well. So those are apps that you would use. But when it comes to placing a trade on the Forex market, there are 3 apps that we mostly use. And in fact, the first 2 are owned by the same company, MetaTrader 4 and MetaTrader 5. It's just the same company owns it, but there are different applications that, work at different levels for different people. Yeah. And then there's CTrader. But all analysis is done on TradingView. So anybody that is going to learn investing or that is going to invest will have to go through an academy and actually go and learn how to do it. So by the time you get there, you have an in-depth understanding of the softwares to use, the applications to use, and then you get exposed to multiple markets. So these ones I've just mentioned, if you choose to download it and then just load your money, you're going to be doing a lot of guesswork. Yeah. And we try not to allow people or encourage any type of guesswork in this business because it's money. When you do the wrong thing, you are losing money. When you do the wrong thing, you are paying with money. And money is probably the most emotional commodity in the world. People are very emotional over money and all that. So we always say, okay, go and learn. These are the softwares. These are the applications, like I've just mentioned, but go and get proper education. That's the most important thing.
Okay. So we've talked a lot about this. Let's get practical. Yeah. So now let's say Chikwado gets paid as a 9-to-5er. And then you're like, okay, I have 20,000 naira that I would like to spare. I've been hearing Tolu on the Novice podcast, Ugodre on Follow the Money saying stock, Forex and all of that. I want to invest. Which do you think I can get a return of investment that is not so, volatile, like you said, and it's easier for me to trade as a 9-to-5er?
Okay, so when it comes to this question that you just asked, this is it's going along the lines of giving financial advice, which of course I'm not going to give financial advice. So I've been in instances where right now the Nigerian stock market is virtually at all-time highs. You have MTN at serious highs. You have, Fidelity Bank. You have a lot of Nigerian banks trading in at very, very serious highs, irrespective of, I think the Fidelity Bank had a recent issue with, they had a fine and all of those things, but the stock has managed to maintain a high. If you've gone through an academy or if you've learned how to trade from someone like myself, you know that you don't really want to buy at the highs. But the problem is, that's why we always tell people you need to actually get some form of education. It's just like, buying a car and then you say you can just sit in the car and drive. You're going to need to go to a bit of driving school. Yeah. And we always want to tell people when it comes to investing, taking your money and putting it somewhere, get some education, get some learning. Because, for instance, I don't have the charts to show you what MTN is. MTN, I think the last time I checked about a few days ago, it was trading at 357 Naira. And a couple of months back, it was at 175 Naira. And then I called some of my clients that I consult for. I said, if you're looking to get shares, MTN is good right now. Get MTN shares. It's at 175. And since that time, it has done double those numbers. It's done very well. So you have to actually time the market. So now you have a bit of money.
Because someone, he put in 20,000 Naira and after a week later, he saw that, his money is just dropping and dropping. And
exactly.
He was like, I'm never going to do this again. Is it that, because they say that, when it's Forex, you have to have the chest, the heart of a lion, and all things like that. So does emotion really, work with stocks, crypto, and Forex?
It works with anything that trades on an exchange, right? Like I told you, money is the most emotional commodity ever, right? The guy who put in 20,000 Naira and now he's afraid, the money is going against him and all that. This what happens when you have, improper learning. You just maybe learn to use the platform and then you take money and put it in there and you don't even know where you're getting in at. Like where the markets are, I would tell anybody, if I'm consulting for you, I'll tell you, get out. If you've gotten some, decent profit, get out of the market. Allow the market to breathe. Allow top investors. I was at Fidelity Bank about 2 months ago, and I was talking with my account officer, and I was asking the account officer, why are the investors in Fidelity Bank? Why are they not taking profit? What's going on? And he was like, And then I pulled out my phone before in there, and I saw that, I saw some things on the chart, and I was like, when I saw him again, I said, I see some of your guys, some of your investors are taking profit. If you're looking at the chart will tell you all those stories that, okay, there's profit taken here, there's capital injection here. So the problem with the guy is it is not an issue of whether, the market is emotional or you have to know what you're doing. That's the most important thing. And everybody's going to take a loss at some point. We all take losses in the market, but then it's structured in such a way that even if you take a loss, you get to make your money back, and that's what they have to learn.
You keep saying we have to know what we're doing.
Yeah.
So what are like the basic knowledge? Okay, for example, is there like a YouTube channel that we could watch, or we have to, go through the academy in order to understand this thing fully? Are there books? Are there like, videos that we can actually sit back, watch before even thinking of joining the academy and moving fully into investing? Okay,
I really like this. For myself, when I started on this journey, YouTube wasn't a thing when I started, and it was very difficult at the time. But this era, in fact, I was discussing with my team. I said, this is the easiest era to make money. Right? You have YouTube there to learn. You can go on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel. Chikwado Trading Academy has a YouTube channel.
We also have it.
Yeah. So, Nairametrics too. I go through the content. There is a lot of things that you can learn when you go on YouTube. But then one of the things that happens on YouTube is that it can convolute your mind. Like you have this person, you have multiple people
screaming, buy this stock.
And it's ridiculous because that is not the most ideal way to approach the market. It's just like when you were going to university, you studied, I studied accounting. Okay. There were people studying accounting in places like maybe Afebalola University, or Nobisi Onabanjo, all the different schools. I won't say, the lecturer in accounting that is teaching me in Ekiti State University is teaching something different. Let me get to the ones in Onobanjo and go and see what they are learning there. You face one academy and learn from there. I tell people, I have a mentor. No, stay with your mentor. Learn from one person because they have a way they do things. They have an approach that they use in the market. And if a person has gotten rich, he has made money over time and he has created an income for himself, it means that there is something to learn from there. You should stay there and get the knowledge from there. So the idea is I'm not going to, just tell anybody that, you can just pick up your phone and start doing it. See real serious learning from an academy. And if you're following a YouTube channel, follow that YouTube channel, follow the course, follow whatever, and just follow it on that path and not, be everywhere here, there, and all that.
But I'm not going to lie, fear of, wanting to be, not to be left out because, we have to really address this issue of signals. I'm very serious. If you check your Telegram, check your WhatsApp, you just wake up and you see you've been added to one group called forexsignals.com. Like, how did I get here? Like, are these even real? What are signals? Let's
okay, so signal is simply, a signal is the trick is just an alert telling you to buy a particular asset at a certain price. Put your stop loss and your target at a certain price, right?
Okay.
But I don't encourage signals, and I have reasons why I don't encourage signals. And I think it is, it's a bad idea to give people signals. Why I think it's a bad idea is that over time, let's say, like I had a student who came by the office, and he has done well, but he's not profitable. And I said, okay, you are going to go on a 100 trade cycle. I will sit down with you every 20 trades to review your performance. And then we take it from there. If you are taking signals from, let's say you're taking signals from me, for instance, and I don't know the sequence of the losses and wins that will come along my way. If I'm taking 10 trades, the only thing I know in that trade is I know my risk. I know that I'm risking 1% of my account. Okay. Now, whether that trade will win or lose is something I don't know. It's something I don't have any control over. At the moment I place the trade, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if, there's going to be a war in Iran or there's going to be some activity in Europe or in Yemen or in places that are of key areas, that could disrupt. I don't know that. So I am only in control of my risk. Now, 10 trades, I don't know the sequence of wins and losses. And let's say I take the first 3 trades and they are losses. And that you're taking the signal, you don't have the mind to take the 4th trade because it's not the system you tested. But me, I trade the system every day. I know that I can run into 4 losses in a row. I know that at the end of 10, 15 trades, I'm coming out profitable, but you don't know that. So you can just lose money on the 4th one and you say, this guy in a scam, he doesn't know what he's doing. I'm not doing it again. And then you leave, and then I'm taking the 5th, 6th, and 7th trade and I'm making money and I'm recouping all those losses and I'm back in profit. So that's exactly why we don't encourage signals, because it's not your system. You didn't design it. You need to design your own system and trade your own system. And when you do that, you have more confidence in the market. And also, in fact, let me even share an experience. When I started too, I was equally taking signals. So I went and I paid one guy, one Egyptian guy for signals. And, I think it was a Moroccan guy. He was doing, he would post signals and, he's showing that he's doing very well. I'm watching it on Facebook. I'm
because it's all over social media. The pressure is a lot.
It's ridiculous. So we fell for that too before we realized that, signals, no, put that in one corner. So I saw the guy and, I quickly, got on board and I started taking the signals. And something happened. One of the trades, because the moment someone sends a signal, you believe that the person knows what he's doing, he cannot lose. The person is managing risk because, short signal, like short or the people that play bets, So, and then I put in the trade. Immediately the guy sent the signal, I just entered with my full account, put the trades in. And then the signal was going bad. The market was going against me. And I just took a screenshot of the thing and I chatted the guy up and I was angry on Telegram. I was like, what's this? On Telegram. And then I sent it to the guy. And his reaction was, what nonsense is this? Where's the risk management? It was later I realized that he was actually right. I was supposed to be managing risk, but I wasn't managing risk because I felt the signal came from some Moroccan guy. He was doing well and, the market would follow. No, the market will not follow him. He too is at the mercy of the markets or the mercy of himself, right? So that's why we don't encourage that. But and now something happened earlier as well. I also started using signals from these South African traders back in the day. And I noticed that when they take a trade, the market would, first of all, every trader goes through the drawdown before it goes back in profit. It's very rare that you take a trade and it just goes straight. No, because you can't time it, you don't know. So they took a trade on several instances and the trade would just go in a very long drawdown. And then I'll be seeing minus 200, minus 300. And then my heart is pounding in my chest, I'm thinking to myself like, And then after a while, I'll be like, this thing is not going to work. I'll close the trade.
That. Okay.
Then when I close the trade, they'll hold on to it because they've tested the system. They know the system. They hold on to the trade and eventually it goes back in their profit direction and they make money and I've lost money on the same signals. So you need to trade a system that you know, a system that you've tested, not the one that some guy on Telegram and in fact, I've seen some very weird things in the industry. People who are not even traders. They come online and then they create content and they say that they are traders. And you don't even know.
So how can we actually, what's the word? No.
Who are real traders?
Who are these people and avoid being scammed? Because to think of it, there was one time in my life, someone was like, come and invest your money, things like that he's doing Forex. Don't worry, just drop your money. After a couple of days, I'll give you some money. But I'm not even in the trading part. I'm just an investor, if that's the word.
Yeah.
And, later on, we later heard that, this person was lying, that he was actually using the money to play Bet Nigeria. So how can we tell that, this person these people who are not to go to these people, they're scam. And these people are, the right people to learn from and know how to trade from?
So this is a very good question. I really love this question because the Nigerian space right now is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And one of the ways you will know is if any trader anywhere under the sun is telling you that they are going to give you 10, 15, 20% return on your investment per month, that's a big lie. There's no trader that can do that. If a trader is available, they can come forth and show their evidence. The best of the best hedge funds in America, they are happy to do 20% return in a year.
A year.
The Nigerian, the Nigerian bond is 25% per year.
True.
The government treasury. And the government understands the risk. And that's a government that can print money. The Nigerian government can print money via the CBN. They are doing 25% per year. But you, with your limited information on your phone and your laptop, in some room somewhere, you are telling an investor that you can give them 10, 15, 20% on a monthly basis. It doesn't exist. So if you see anybody that makes such promises, that is a very, very big fraud. You should be running. But then we also have a problem on the part of the investors in Nigeria. Nigerian investors generally do not care about the safety and security of their funds. I can tell you that for free. What they care about is how much return are you giving me? There was one Forex investment project that went very terribly wrong back in the day. No, not CBEX. CBEX wasn't even Forex. It was crypto. And it's as nasty as it gets. There was one back in the day, MBA Forex. I don't know if anybody remembers MBA Forex back in the day.
If you remember, tell us in the comment section.
It was around 2019, 2020-ish. That was around the time it happened. And at the time, I was telling people, I said, that wasn't sustainable. Long run, it's not sustainable. And they said, no, MBA Forex, they pay how many percent? You they talk and you don't know what they do. Okay.
They always crash.
And eventually, it came crashing down. That is because there is no market in the world where you make such returns. And if it were that we create a world where such returns are possible in the market, where we are churning out 15, 20, 30% on monthly basis in the market, then the spiral effect of that is that the economy is going to be heavily inflated.
Yeah.
Because you need to increase the price of goods and services to generate those returns that, will pay a few investors. And that's really not how, things work. It can't work in the real world. So if anybody is promising you those type of returns, the most important thing that an investor should be concerned about is capital preservation, the safety of your money. If somebody is telling you they are going to give you 10% return, 15% return in a month, how much of your account are they subjecting to risk to get that money? What is the risk profile?
So these are the questions we should ask them, right?
Yeah, you should ask them these questions. And you should ask them what their monthly drawdown ratio is. Like, how many percent do they go down in a month? Are you telling me that you're going to give me 10% return in a month, but then you are risking 40% of my account to make 10% return? If in the event that something goes wrong, there's no way to come back from that.
Because I didn't get my money back, trust me. And all the other people that I invited to, my mom,
your money went to the betting shops.
It did. It's very painful. But before we go on a quick commercial break, I want us to talk about crypto. You know, we've talked about Forex and stock a little bit, but let's talk about the last one. Or I won't call it the last one, but let's talk about crypto.
Yeah.
So crypto, at the point, I believe it wasn't, legal in Nigeria. Is it still legal in Nigeria, or how does it even work?
So crypto is the description that came to my head to describe crypto is, within the Nigerian space is quite, it's not something we get to see on camera, but crypto is something that, the government doesn't really like. Right, the government of Nigeria.
Because a lot of CBN rules, regulations.
There are rules and regulations around it. The government doesn't really like it, but over time, because of the inconsistent nature of policies within Nigeria, it has sort of relaxed. Right, it has sort of relaxed. But crypto within the Nigerian environment, within the Nigerian investment landscape, it is not something that you will get to SEC, and SEC will smile at you for it.
Sorry, SEC?
Securities and Exchange Commission.
Okay.
So let's say, for instance, I get to Securities and Exchange Commission and I tell the Securities and Exchange Commission that I'm starting an asset management firm. And one of the key mandates of the asset management firm is to get into crypto investment. The SEC is not going to like that kind of idea. The SEC is not going to smile at it, and the SEC is not going to like it. In fact, the SEC is not even going to like it when you tell them that, you want to be paying 20, 50, 40% return on investment per month. The SEC knows, and they're not going to give you a license for it. So within the Nigerian space, we can use crypto for, let's say, transactions, make certain kind of payments. And luckily, we have KYCs on crypto platforms these days, but it is not something that, you want to be doing and then you're going online and you're telling people and the government is not going to smile at it if they see that, So that's really how I would describe the crypto at the moment in Nigeria.
So, I mean, I would like you to give me a more relatable, experience of whereby someone, started from grace to grass and, from trading, and you can cite yourself as money man, because how, are there scenarios whereby people really started from 5 naira 5K and then now they're making money in this business?
Okay, so this is a very beautiful question, and the reason I love the question is that it gives an opportunity to paint a realistic picture of what it really is. So Forex is just like every other business. You first of all need to know what you're doing very, very well. And then the next part of the business that comes is the part where you are so good at what you do that you are able to attract investment to yourself. Because by default, when we're starting out, none of us has money enough to, trade the markets. Even though you have leverages and the platforms and all that, but we don't have enough money to trade the platforms when we're starting out. So for someone like myself, the path that I took was that we're lucky to, in fact, by the time I started this in 2014.
Did you start alone or you had a team?
So I started by myself, and in fact, when I started learning, the learning was so crazy that I knew eventually that I wasn't going to actually learn properly through that way, because I was, in my final year in school and, something was going on. I signed up on a broker, and then the broker will call me on phone and I'll sit down with my jotter. And then he's trying to give me an instruction on how to calculate pips, how to calculate the value of a pip, position size. He was trying to teach all that through the phone. It was eventually in later years when I got deeper, I figured that I couldn't have learned it, that way. But by the time, we're able to learn and know what we're doing on the market, what came up in the market were prop firms. So they are proprietary firms that give you capital, but you have to pass the exam, their evaluation process. You have to pass it, demonstrate that you can trade, demonstrate that you can manage risk, and they give you access to their capital to trade, and then, you get paid whatever you earn from there. So that was the route that people like us took. But ordinarily, we wouldn't have been able to.
Are they still available?
Yes, very much in the market. A lot of them these days. But you have to know what you're doing to be able to even pass the stage 1 and the stage 2. If you can't pass the first stage, pass the second stage and, get withdrawals, you really can't do anything about it. So the original thing was we went through that route, prop firms. By the time we learned how to trade, we went through prop firms. Because if you say you want to pull in investor capital and tell people to contribute money for you, how much can they really contribute? How much can they really bring together for you to, trade the markets and then earn enough money to
Give
yourself, give them back returns, a lot of these things. You really can't do that. So luckily for us, prop firms came out in our era, and we're able to utilize that. In fact, one of the biggest ones that I did, that one it has now gone bust. It got banned by the US government anyway. That was my Forex fund. Did very, very well on the company, and subsequently I stayed true to it. So that's the route that I took. But these days, most people would go through the route of, if they can trade very well, we've seen people get into trouble for it. If they can trade very well, they go and seek an investment. Maybe they can, let's say, meet a very high net worth individual and say, okay, I can manage your portfolio, and a high net worth individual can allocate like maybe $100,000, $200,000, depending on what they can, afford to, invest. They can invest, and then the trader looks to manage that for the high net worth individual. And if the trader does well, he gets paid out of that. So the original thing with trading is you are learning to be a portfolio manager so that you can manage wealth for high net worth individuals and get rich in the process. But these days, the script has been flipped in Nigeria. People, they will tell you that you want to take 100,000 and flip it to, and then you're getting rich overnight. And then we are seeing some very obscene things on the internet. You see guys, they come out of nowhere and they tell you that they made their money from Forex. In my opinion, you're probably just a Yahoo boy who's hiding under Forex. And I really don't have respect for things like that. So that's really how it is.
But let's go on a quick commercial break, and then we'll be right back. Welcome back to the conversation. So Chikwado, you know that life is not always rosy. We've talked about the rosy parts. So is there any way or any story, or you can you can cite yourself as an example whereby, trading or investing has wiped out your entire money, like wipe, slicked clean?
Well, this is, it's very difficult to find a trader that has not had this story I'm about to, had the experience of what I'm about to share. So I think I was in 2019 or 2020, something happened. I was trading on a Friday. Every trader knows there's this news that comes out on Fridays. It's called NFP, non-farm payrolls. So it's a news where the US government publishes data of, the jobs that were created outside of, agriculture and all that. So now, on that fateful Friday.
Very faithful.
Yeah, very faithful Friday. I was trading in the markets, and I was trading USD Swiss franc. I was trading the dollar against Swiss franc. And I went hard, and I made $1,000 in a single day. But that $1,000 I made on a single day, I made that money, and instantly I was thrown into a frenzy. I was thinking about it like, Jesus, can you imagine what I can do if I just repeat this? And at the time you're thinking about it like, all you need to do is just do this over and over again, and you're rich.
Yeah, your $1,000.
Yeah. So I made that money, and in all honesty, I always say this, there is a certain amount of money you should not make as a beginner if you don't know what you're doing. You should not, the worst thing that can happen to you is to come into this business and make money immediately. You feel like you feel like a ghost that you can't be touched, and you feel that that's how it's going to be. So immediately I made that money. I withdrew it from my trading platform account. I put it in my bank account. I looked at it. I said, let me get this one. And then I put the money back in. And I waited for Monday. And the reason for Monday was to come back and make thousands of dollars, going forward. And I was bleeding out the accounts at the speed of light.
What?
Yes. Eventually, all that money were lost down to zero. Lost down to zero.
Wow. And
I was in a mess. Mentally, in fact, it was a very, very bad situation for me at the time. And, at the time, the prop firm thing had not become so popular like, what it is now. Like everywhere you turn is a prop firm. So one thing that now happened was, it wasn't just my money. People that knew I was trading, they had brought money together and they gave me and said, okay, since you are trading, I help us to trade too.
And you got $1,000.
And I got $1,000, of course. And by the time I lost that money, it wasn't just mine, it was people's money. So I was in debt. And eventually I had to find a way around it. I had to start. So what I did was, in fact, things got so difficult. I left Lagos. I went back home, stayed for a bit. And luckily, I eventually got someone that invested money with me. The person invested $1,000. He said, he wasn't investing as an investor. He said, take this money. I've seen your effort. I've seen what you're doing. Take this $1,000 and start trading again. And what he said was, in his own words, say, guy, I believe if this money knock, I will give you another one.
Wow.
And I took that money, and after like, some month, about 2 months, he charged me like, okay, after 1 year, give me back that money. He gave me that money in April. So I've traded for like 2 months. I was like, okay, after 1 year, give me back the money. So by this time around, I'd learned my lessons. So it was that $1,000 that I took, and I traded over 6 months. No, 6 months. It's not like these days people say we are making it overnight, 1 week. No, it took me 6 months. That's what happened. That's what happened. So it took me 6 months, and I was able to make my first million out of that money from the markets. The first million that came from the Forex market came from that $1,000 seed. And after a while, he called me. I was like, okay, you know what? After 1 year, return back the money to me. So in April of the following year, that was now in 2021, I brought back the money. He was like, no worry, just carry the money, give my brother. I just wanted you to work hard. So it was from that point I could afford to pay for because the prop firm exams don't come cheap. So it was from there I could afford to pay for prop firms and all. We got narrowly said, even the prop firm, you can't afford to pay for the exam. To pay for $100,000 prop firm challenge right now will cost about 800,000 or 900,000 in Naira today. So it's quite a lot of money, So that was one very big pitfall that I fell into. Lost all the money, and I was in very serious despair. And I've seen traders who equally, in fact, I have a friend. We're just having this conversation about 2 days ago. He went very big, and he had people's money under his watch. He lost a lot of money, and he had to sell 4 of his lands, to recoup the money to pay back. I know that kind of. So those kind of things can happen, and the only thing that pushes those kind of situations to happen in the market is where you promise the investor outright, huge returns. You promise them that you're going to give them a certain amount of money that is, ridiculous. And then it pushes you to do things outside of what is, ethical, So that's really how, that was the bad experience that I had. And I'm hoping that, I'm rooting for my guy that he's going to come. I'm not going to mention his name on camera, He's quite a popular person. So I'm rooting for him, and I believe that I told him, I said, guy, I know you're going to come. I've had an experience like that. And after I had the experience, I came out far bigger on the other side. So you too, I'm sure you'll be far bigger on the other side too.
So from this your experience and from this your story, most people, and besides that, most people might not want to venture into Forex or trading or the market, but should they know about this? Should they have the knowledge about stocks, crypto, Forex, the market in general? Yes,
they should know about it. And the investors should be, in fact, I think we've gotten to a stage where we should be having a lot of stakeholder meetings for investors. People like yourself who, like you said, you gave money to someone. Before you actually give money to someone, there are things you should know. There are questions you should ask. And it makes sense to know what the trader is going to be. In fact, you might not know the technical stuff like I do, but you should have an understanding of risk. You should have an understanding that the market is risky. And then I have some people, they come up to me and they say, they want the one that does not carry risk at all. Go and buy treasury bill. Just fix your mind on your 25% return per year and pick it from the treasury bill. Don't try to come to a trader and, you're not expecting the 25% on a monthly basis. So you need to have a clear understanding of what you're doing as an investor as well. The trader needs to know what he's doing and how he's trading. But the investor too needs to know the right questions to ask the trader. What is your risk profile? How much are you risking per trade? And if the trader is promising you that, don't worry, I'm giving you 15% at the end of the month, run first. Leave the office immediately. If you're having the conversation in an office, run away. There might be instances where there are extraordinary situations in the market that, causes such outstanding returns to happen. Let's say there's a market crash and you happen to, short the market on that.
It's not fixed.
It's not fixed. It doesn't happen every time. But if those situations happen, we thank God for it, and then we make the money, in the process. But on a day-to-day basis, in fact, there's what we refer to in Forex as a daily pip range. That is the number of pips that the market is not expected to exceed within a 24-hour window. So if you know that there's an expected daily pip range, why are you promising someone, that you're going to, those kind of things?
So before we jump on the Novice Dip, trading or investing in 3 words, what would you?
I think in 3 words, I would describe it as earning through risk. I think that's what I would, or wealth through risk. And also, I think at this point, let me quickly define investing. Trading has a high degree of frequency. In trading, you are going into the markets, at a higher degree. You are going in on daily basis, on weekly basis. But an investor is buying one stock and holding it for 10, 15 years, long term, and is backing the company for a longer period of time, minimum of at least 3 to 4 years. That's a real investor. So in investing, you have a longer horizon. You get rich slower in investing, but at the same time, in fact, the key difference is that you can get rich through trading, but you get wealthy with investing. So
take it again.
You get rich with trading, but you get wealthy with investing. So in that instance, you are buying and holding assets, like say, for instance, real gold, real commodities, and you are holding it over a long period of time for capital appreciation. And then the interesting thing is that you can borrow against your assets that you've invested in. If you've bought stock of a good company, you can borrow against it. If you've bought bonds,
how would you borrow against it?
So to borrow against it is you can take it to a bank, and that serves as a collateral. That's what it means by borrowing against it. So if let's say you have, I have like a 500 million naira bond with the federal government, I can take that bond certificate to a commercial bank, anyone in Nigeria, maybe Nairametrics Bank, if there's anything like that, and say, okay, coming soon, right? And say, okay, I want 100 million naira liquidity. No, that's a loan now. And the interest rate is probably 15, 20%, whatever rate it is. It's still not as big as the bond that I have somewhere. So if Nairametrics looks at that, they'll be more than happy to give me the loan. So you can borrow against such assets. Okay. And that's how you keep the asset, but you're generating liquidity from it and using the liquidity for business. So that's how it's done.
So what's one money mistake, people, Nigerians, make all the time? It might not just be investing, it might not just be trading, but it's a money mistake that we always make. So
this is a very beautiful question. And myself, I made it as well. And one of the things that, I've seen with Nigerian culture is that Nigerians do not really treat their incomes with enough respect. And why I say enough respect is that your income is supposed to be, the vehicle that builds wealth for you. Right? Most people get their income, they think about all the things they can buy and probably bills they can pay. Okay. But they're not thinking about the aspect of the income that they keep behind in terms of not even savings, in terms of investment, in terms of where you're putting that money. So the number one money mistake is people get a higher degree of income, they quickly upgrade the lifestyle. Probably move they probably,
sharp.
Yeah, exactly. But that's really the wrong thing, because in the long run, you are meant to use your income to actually build wealth, to get assets that eventually get you more money. Well, the problem in Nigeria is that a lot of times you see people, it goes from income to expense, but it's supposed to pass through. You get the money, you save some, you have an investment, no matter how small it is. And the thing is, people think that, you need to have hundreds of millions to have an investment. If you choose to start, let's say, doing something like DC, dollar cost averaging, and you buy dollars for every 20,000 naira that comes to you, and you probably put that in a dollar bond, that does a lot for you over the long run. It is better for you to get to the end of 5 years and see your dollar bond built up over time than get there at the end of 5 years. You might think it's 20,000 naira, but if you save it up over time, it amounts to quite a lot.
Yes,
and another thing too is that people think their incomes are too small to build an investment from, and that's a very big money mistake. So no matter what your income is, you have to find a way to live way below that. And, you always take from there and build businesses, buy up assets and all of those things.
So you can say that's a habit that we should.
Oh, it's a habit that is very bad. And, not a lot of people teach that. And, in fact, I was having a conversation with my older sister, some weeks back, and we're having a conversation around how come things like this are not taught in schools. In fact, if I had financial literacy, in the bag, I would be way richer now, because in fact, in my first profitable year, there was a lot of money that I'm not even going to mention that I could not account for. I was, everywhere, throwing money around. That's not how to handle money. You have to have respect for money. So
what's one habit we should do?
Get into the habit of, in fact, the habit that we should get rid of is the impulse to spend.
And what habit should we
now have?
Yeah.
The habit to save. Have the habit of, this money has come, let's put it somewhere. This money has come, let's tie it somewhere. And in fact, one of the there is this thing that you might think of it, and it's not really an investment. Is something as simple as buying real gold.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Buy real gold. You might not wear, like myself, I'm not very much of a jewelry person, but buy real gold. If you want to keep it somewhere, if you want to buy it as a ring, in fact, if I get a ring, I'm sure I'll probably lose it. But buy real stuff and keep stuff that is real that you can call on. And in most
assets.
Yeah, an asset. And in most recent times, I've seen things like, the things that have become assets in this country are even crazy. You'll be surprised that an iPhone has become an asset.
It's an asset too, please.
An iPhone is an asset. Even the car you're driving is. People say cars are liabilities, but I would never ever think of a car as a liability. So, but get things that are really tangible that can serve you over a long period of time. And then, of course, learn about some of these assets that you buy on the exchange, like the bonds, all of these things. It's best to learn about it so that you can do it yourself. And there are people who dedicate themselves to, teaching stuff like that. I mean, I think...
like Ugo Dre.
Yeah, I mean, that too as well, right? So, that's really... So, very good financial literacy coaches, right? That teach you, the investment process, how to, where to put your money. You don't have to have plenty of it. If you have a salary of 100,000 naira, that's something.
Yeah.
Because if you can take out 10K from there
to buy suya. So why can't you take it to invest?
So that's really how it is.
Thank you. That said, we jump on the Novice Dip.
Okay.
So these are questions that our audience have asked, and you
wonderful.
just help us to
okay
answer. So how many do you want to answer?
As much as time allows us.
Okay.
Now.
You have 3. Okay.
Okay. This is so this is raffle draw. Am I to win something?
You win now.
Okay. Here I go. Would you advise your sibling to go all in on trading or a 9 to 5? This is a very beautiful question. So, would I advise my sibling to go all in on trading or a 9 to 5? So, I would advise my sibling to start with a 9 to 5 and learn to trade along the way. Eventually, your trading will tell you when to leave your 9 to 5.
Word.
The trading will tell you, because by the time you're now looking at, you've seen that you're managing probably $100,000 portfolio on a prop firm. You've done that consistently for 6 months to a year. You've built up savings for at least 6 months worth of savings, and you're looking at your bank accounts, how much you make per month from your trading, and you're seeing that it now outweighs
your salary.
But then it takes time to build a skill set that can get you to this point. It takes quite a bit of time. So I will always tell my sibling, keep your 9 to 5. And also one of the things it does for you is that it takes away the pressure to want to do very silly things on the market, because a lot of times the pressure and the need to make money affects the performance of traders. If you need money a lot, if you really, really need money, the market is not going to give it to you. And that's how it is with everything in life. If you really need something, nobody wants to give you what you need in this life. It's you always want to look like you don't need it.
It's like you pick more than 3 today.
Okay, let's see. Oh, okay.
I can help you with it.
Okay, this one. Should schools be teaching this instead of just economics and commerce? Yes, schools should be teaching this. Schools should be teaching this. Financial literacy should be a very serious part of our curriculums, So financial literacy should be a huge part of our curriculum. Schools should be teaching how to trade. In fact, schools should engage people like us who have trading academies, to come in as resource persons, to hold these courses.
It should be like a course.
It should be like a course that people should learn.
Secondary schools as well.
Secondary school, there is something for every single person. There's financial literacy for every single person at whatever level you are. In fact, there's something that Tony Lumelu said. He said on his page, he said he gives his daughter money and then he expects her to give an account of how she's spending the money and how she's investing the money. So that's teaching your child money habits. And there's this guy on Instagram, I think his name is Dakpo or so. I forgot, Dikpo. I think his name is Dikpo. He lives in the US. He teaches his children, very young children that he has, he teaches them, financial literacy, what an asset is, what a liability is, where to put your money, where not to put your money. An asset is simply something that returns money. Liability takes money out of your pocket. Yeah. So teaching them what an asset should be and how to invest. So that does not have an age limit at all. You can teach your little child all those ones. So very important.
Okay. 2 more.
All right, 2 more. Let's see.
Can I help you with the other one?
Okay. I'm 22. I just graduated. Should I learn trading first or look for a job and invest later? So please get a job and invest later. So the reason I'm going to say get a job and invest later is that it took me 7 years from when I started to when I made my first million from the market.
7 years.
And the fastest I have seen, because I didn't go through a mentor, I was, everywhere. That's the problem. That was the reality. But the fastest a student of mine has gone from not knowing what they're doing to making their first million from the market was 8 months. But now we cannot guarantee the results for it because individual results vary because they're all different individuals. So for someone who's just starting, I will encourage them to get a job and then learn along the way. Eventually, just like the first question as well, they will know when to, put down the 9 to 5.
Okay.
All right. The dip again. Okay.
Exchange.
Yeah, that's the exchange you're talking about. What is the worst financial advice you heard in the industry? So, the worst financial advice, in fact, they're everywhere these days, but I think I'll pick one from the one that is very fresh in my head. In fact, we were having a conversation around the world, we were driving here. It's the one where someone, went on TikTok, and the advice, was telling beginner trader, telling people who don't know how to trade, download TradingView on your phone, open a chart, go to 5 minutes time frame, take a screenshot of it and go to ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT what to do, then go and invest with it. In fact, that's the dumbest thing on the internet. It's ridiculous. That's the worst ever.
So ChatGPT can't tell us what to do.
It's not even sustainable. Like, how do you don't know? Okay, so when you run into a sequence of losses, because ChatGPT is going to run into losses too. So when you run into a sequence of losses, how are you going to manage the psychology that comes with that? The barrage of emotions you are going to feel because it's not your system. You don't know. So asking people who don't know anything about trading to copy ChatGPT, to take a screenshot, go to ChatGPT, and then go to an app to place a trade. That's bonkers, I swear. Like, that's it's garbage.
Okay, the last one, I'll call it a wrap.
Okay. Okay, let's... What is the difference between real trading and betting?
Please tell us.
Okay. It's starting to look the same. The CBEX issue, for instance. Very good. So what is the difference? In fact, I've seen this
You can read it again and tell them.
So what is the difference between real trading and betting? So in real trading, you follow a system. You follow a defined trading system where you have a trading strategy that you follow and you put a risk parameter to it. You can determine how much you're risking or losing in the trade. Now, but in betting, the same way you cannot control how, which team is going to win and all of those things. There is no system that you can follow when you're playing betting, and you cannot simulate that. So another thing too that we have in trading is that we have the backing of statistical data. So I can open my chart and look at the price and see what the price did in 1971 and, follow and see what repeated itself most in the market. That is an edge that I have. That is how you create an edge within the market. But in betting, you don't have that access. A team could have done very well, and then suddenly they sell some of their key players or they are injured, and it's not something that you can measure. You cannot take that and simulate it. But a trading strategy, I can simply take one formula and even give it to, like an algorithm, and it simulates that and gives me back result. It's going to give me the expected win rate. There's a lot that I can get in the real trading world. And the reason people say trading and people say it looks alike is because these people generally have not been to a proper trading class. If you get to a proper trading class, you're going to see a world of differences. So it's starting to look like a CBEX, for instance. So like we said, there has to be a lot of investor awareness going on in Nigeria, right? Investors have to know what they're doing as well, not just the traders. Investors have to know what they're doing. When you hear that someone is investing and giving you back 30%, just like what we had in the days of MMM. When you hear those kind of things, you want to really look down and ask yourself, 30%, where is it going to come from? If we pull out the market at 30% in a month, how much do we inflate the economy and where are the rest of the human beings going to live? So those are the things that you should ask yourself as an investor, and you should be learning that as well. So that we don't have things like CBEX. If we had enough investor awareness, we wouldn't have things like the CBEX scam going on. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Chikwado. This has been a masterclass. In fact, I'm joining your academy today.
We can't wait to have you. ChikwadoTrading.com. You go there, you start the class.
Exchange
again.
Okay, so Chikwado, we talked about assets a bit, about buying valuable things like gold, and my grandmother has a lot of golds that how can we sell these assets, put it out online? Is there like a platform that we can use to put all these things and then generate money in return? Okay,
so I really like this question. And one of the things that you have to know is that when you have an asset like, let's say, gold or silver, you have to know the current price that is trading in at the exchange. There's a central exchange that, tells us the price of gold per ounce. So currently it's around 3,300 and whatever dollars behind it per ounce of gold. And then silver did very well recently, hit $45 per ounce since 2012, the highest it has ever been in recent time. So now there are people who you can sell those things. So like, for instance, the guys who operate bureau de changes also get involved in selling gold. They get involved in selling silver as well. You can sell those things. So
we can just walk up to them, give
them,
you can
walk up to them, and you'll be surprised when you walk up to them. They have a scale that looks like a calculator. They just bring it out from their pocket, and then they take your gold and put on it, and they see how many ounces it weighs. They test it if it's real gold. They have their machines and stuff they used to test it. They test it if it's real gold, and then if you're not careful, they will tell you that it is worth less than it really is. If you come in with, let's say, 28 karat gold, there's a measurement for it. They have a system that they use to measure that. Now, if you come in with that, they'll look at it and they say, okay, fine, you're here with this X amount of money. This is how much it is selling for now. So they can give you the dollar rate of whatever it is and the naira rate of what the gold value is. Yeah. And then you pay the difference, you pay that, or they pay you that in this case if you're selling. So that is how, you can, sell the gold if you have the gold and all of those things. So whatever asset you have, you always have to find out what the real market value of that asset is.
So, now things have evolved. Is there like a website that you can actually...
So when you go to tradingview.com, you can see, when you go to tradingview.com, you can see virtually every asset you can think about in this world, whether it's platinum, silver, whatever. What's this one they sell in Australia? Copper. A whole lot of things, whatever it is you have, zinc, you can sell it on, you can see the prices on TradingView, and then you can usually just download the same TradingView on your phone. You can download TradingView as a mobile app on your Android or iOS device, and then you head over to an exchange, and the exchange guy is trying to tell you something different. You just open it, type in the search, and then you see the price there. It's there in front of you. It's not hidden. It's not some special application and all that. But if you have a broker that's trying to sell it, the broker might have differences in prices due to their spreads and commissions and all that, but it won't be much of a variation and all that. So that's it.
Thank you so much, Chikwado. And you can talk a bit about your academy so that people like me that want to sign up now. So how do we...
Okay, so this is the part where I get to talk about Chikwado Trading Academy. We've been providing trading education since 2020, and it has been a very beautiful journey. We've had very profitable students come through our doors and learned how to trade. And of course, if we bring a combination of the people who have come through our doors physically and those who we have taught online as well, it's over 1,000 students trained, all doing very well in different parts of the world. So you have an opportunity to join the movement. Now, the interesting thing with what we do at the academy is that anybody who has been to our classes know that we're not just going to talk about technical analysis. I am very, very big on fundamental analysis, and we will teach you the real world of the markets. You will learn how the real world works in relation to the markets, understanding geopolitics, understanding economics, finance. All of these things, we go very in-depth at the academy to make you a well-rounded trader. So Chikwado Trading Academy, you go to chikwado-trading.com, you find all the details we need there. And of course, most recently, we currently have a beginner class going on. If you are an absolute beginner, you can join the class as well, and you'll get the most value for it. And this time around, the beginner class is being sponsored by FP Market, so that you don't have to pay a dime for it. So other than that, you come through our doors, you go through the website, you get to pay handsomely. But because of the FP Market sponsorship, you get to take that away at no price at all. So that is an opportunity. This is an absolute steal. And we say a big thank you to Nairametrics for giving us the opportunity to talk about this here as well. So thank you.
So thank you so much, Chikwado. This has been a masterclass for me and for my audience.
It's been a pleasure.
And to everyone listening out there, remember, it's not about starting with the hottest market. It's about starting with the right mindset. Don't forget, you can start small and you can start now. And don't trade or invest money that you can't afford to lose. I remain your host, Tolu, and this is the Novice Podcast. Bye, guys.